Okay, I have two images here that I'm going to combine into one image. And the first thing I want to do is evaluate the images because they're basically the same, slightly different. And I want to look at the background to see which one I like. I took this image here. I would have probably tossed it out of my camera, but I took this image as well. Let me close that. Took this image as well, and I thought, wow, look at that. I've got one in focus, one out of focus. They're basically in the same spot. I wonder how that would fit on top of each other. So again, I look at the image and I like this black or brown curtain instead of the white curtain. So I'm going to use this as my background. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this bottom image and drag it into my other image. So I'm going to click on the move tool, come over here and grab this image and just drag it to the top. If I hold my shift key down, it'll drag it and drop it right in the middle. I let go of my mouse, let go of my shift key, drops it right in the middle. The next thing I'm going to do is grab a mask layer and I'm going to click on this icon right here. Creates a white mask for me right down here. And with this layer highlighted, which is this one here, I'm going to change the name of the layer and I'm going to change this name to in focus. So I know which one is, and I'm going to change the name of the background layer to out of focus. I'm just going to go O-O-O-F for out of focus. Oops, one too many O's. Click OK. And with this top layer again selected and highlighted, I just clicked on it. I'm going to drop the opacity down just to see where it matches the background of the other image. So I slowly start to grab and drag that, and it'll bring that in. Looks like I've got to move it over just slightly. So I'm going to click on the image and make sure my move tool is selected. I'm going to just move it over to where it matches that background a little bit. And there it is. Maybe down a couple frames. If I need to zoom in, I can. Control space bar is a shortcut. And I'm going to come in here and say, that looks like that's where we want to go right there. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to zoom back out. Control 0 gives me my full screen. And with this mask highlighted right now, I'm going to come over here and make sure that I've got black and white swatches. If I don't, hit the D for default, which is black and white. And then I want to bring the black to the foreground. I can click here to bring that black to the foreground, or I can just simply hit X and it toggles those back and forth. But you want the black to the foreground. Come over here and grab your brush tool. So click on your brush or just simply hit B on your keyboard for brush. Once I've done that, I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to start to erase on my mask. And I'm going to make my brush bigger. The right bracket key makes my brush bigger, and I'm just going to start to paint over this and erase this background. In fact, I'm just going to erase pretty much the whole thing. Okay, and now I don't have any image at all over that first top layer. It's completely transparent. I'm going to hit the X key to bring my white to the foreground, and I know that the little girls were just slightly behind themselves because this girl is this girl right here. So I'm just going to slowly click on here and bring her back in. And there was a girl right here and bring her back in, and another girl right in here and bring her back in. This is going to take a while, so I might do this offline, but I'll show you one before I completely get out of here. And I'm going to bring that opacity back up so you can see them. And so I'm going to zoom into this one here and really fine tune it. So control space bar and just click and drag in this area. It zooms into that area. I'm going to switch my swatches again, hit the X key and bring my brush down, left bracket key, and just start to bring this back in. And I'm just going to slowly go in and make sure that she's just cut out enough to make it look like she's in the foreground. And I'm going to do some of this offline so you can see what it looks like. So hang tight. Okay, so you see the where I've actually cut her out and put her in front of uh, the girl in the back. Let me zoom in here and kind of do some explaining. This girl here is this girl here. It's the same girl taken at different times. And so I've made her come to the foreground and her blurry uh, evil twin is in the back. But say and the reason you use a mask, and look at the mask here, I've started to cut them out. The reason you use a mask is if you accidentally take out too much of the shape that you want to. So I'm going to over exaggerate here and make my brush a little bigger. I'm going to say, whoops, no, she's in two pieces now. Well, the nice thing is you can change your swatches, hit the X key to bring the white to the foreground, just come back in here and paint her back in. And it brings it so it's non-destructive. Basically, you can come back in and play with that, tweak it. Notice I brought too much right in there. I'll zoom in and show you, and I'll just hit the X key again to bring the black to the foreground. Bring my brush down by hitting the left bracket key and just cut in here a little bit, make it nice and close. It's probably not going to be perfect for this tutorial, but you get the idea. I'm going to go Control 0 to bring it back out, and I'm going to finish these other three offline and show you the final. Okay, so now I have the four girls in the foreground, and I do want to crop this a little bit. So I'm going to take the crop tool, which is located right here. I'm going to keep the width at 6, the height at 4, and I'm going to come in here and crop this a little bit, maybe grab it from about here, and I may readjust this as I go. I'm gonna bring it in a little bit and maybe down so I don't get that pub sign in at all. Maybe bring it in a little more. Bring it in a little more. Try to follow the rule of thirds where the hands are. Perfect. Click enter. And there you have it. So it is a lot of fun to do. Sometimes it's time consuming. Take your time. Your fingers live on the bracket keys. You're to resize the brush often. Have fun with this, and I hope it was helpful.